My name is Colin Carney. I made the rank of Gunner's Mate 3rd. Well, I made, after the Cuba thing was over, but like I said, we got back up to Long Beach in December, just before Christmas. Then in April, we did my first WestPac cruise. And so we went to Westpac, and the usual stops. Our overseas home port was Sasebo, in the Philippines, Yokosuka. And no, it wasn't Yokosuka. Subic Bay in the Philippines. The only thing that happened on that 63-64 cruise, we took on a full battalion of Marines, and we were steaming off the coast of Vietnam. We were ready to put troops on the beach in Vietnam, but they weren't going to, it wasn't involving Vietnam, it was in Laos, the Plain of Jars. And I don't know for sure just how that got resolved, but we did not put troops ashore in Vietnam in 1964. In 1965 cruise, we went over about the same time, March or April, but that's when Nam was starting to get going. And we spent from June until November. Most of our time was in Da Nang, is what they called hotel ship. They didn't have facilities, barrack facilities for everybody. So we had guys that stayed aboard our ship but went ashore and worked at the air base and whatever else the Navy was doing there at that time. But I spent, like I said, from June until November in Vietnam in 1965. We were in Chu Lai. We took in, I forget how many 100-ton of munitions and bombs, mostly 500-pound bombs that we had picked up in Sasebo, Japan. And then we also landed troops in Quai Dan. And we were back and forth between Da Nang, and we go to Okinawa and pick up Marines. I think we made 2 trips there, and I think we picked up some in Subic. So that was my Vietnam experience. Like I said, I tell guys that I was lucky. I was in before it got hot and heavy. We were into some of the initial buildup of material and personnel. We did the first week or so we were in Da Nang, Hanoi Hannah as she was called. On the radio she said that, and she called us by name, which was quite unusual to hear somebody pronounce Okanagan that wasn't from the States, because that's not the easiest name when you see it to pronounce. But she said they gave our whole number, that if we stayed in Da Nang Bay that night, we'd be on the bottom in the morning. So the first 3 or 4 nights we steamed, and leave in the evening, come back in the morning. Then about the 5th day, we didn't up the hook. We stayed in Da Nang in the bay, and we ran a picket boat around the ship, and we used a Lima boat, and we had made up concussion grenades, fused them up, and we just circled the boat slowly and throw concussion grenades off the stern, and did that throughout the night. Next morning, I was at chow. I had the mid-watch on that picket boat, and rumor was that there was bodies that washed up. We don't know if they were sappers or what, but there was bodies that washed up, 3 or 4. So there could have been swimmers in the water to plant explosives on the ships, but you don't, no way to verify it. Yeah, no, I never felt we was any great degree of danger, but that was the closest time, although we were probably closer to peril down in Cuba than we were there in Da Nang at that time. But yeah, no, we didn't think anything of it.